Welcome back to another day in the Elajas era. I'm your host, the most Taylor Elajas. You doing good? I'm doing good. Barry doing good though.
I'm doing
today?
good.
Oh, you doing good?
I'm doing good.
Doing great.
I'm excellent.
Excellent. Ooh, fantastic. Nice. Getting down dirty. Okay. So today we're here at Elajas and Friends, and I'm joined by
Dometi Pongo.
Dometi Pongo. Okay.
I've been waiting for the iconic. Are you doing good? I've been waiting for it.
Waiting for it?
It was time.
With the eyebrow.
Bucket list.
You know what I'm saying? I'm planning on taking the eyebrow back from The Rock. I've been doing it for quite some time, and the older he gets, I feel like one day they'll just start applying it with me.
You owned it now. Like it's got to go somewhere.
I'll take it.
It's
I love
on
that.
you. It's on
You
you,
know what I'm saying? But definitely great to have you here. It's as we were
thank you, man.
speaking. This has been several different times that we have met, and even one time you just necessarily didn't even know that I was in the crowd. But I definitely have loved seeing the journey. You
Thank you,
currently still at MTV. If I'm not mistaken.
I actually just left the top
Just
of the year.
left. Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay,
so I'm freelance. This is actually the first time I'm talking
Yeah.
about it.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Not that it's big news and nobody cares.
Nah, that's big news to me. Honestly,
Okay,
I think that's dope.
word.
Like
Yeah.
I met you at MTV. Now you're saying you're freelancing, and I think so. That also what I want to be able to express to the people is the journey of a person that because I also did my look-ins, right? Had where very dope freestyler, honestly. I did watch one of the videos. You was going crazy. I can't even lie. Saying like you was going stupid, and to where you was also an anchor at a radio station and had to essentially drop the music to focus more on the journalism side of things. Get to MTV. I know you also was in corporate America and whatnot. So to go around these different avenues in your life to where now you're circling back to being freelance. I think we do want to go down this timeline. But ultimately, I do want to even start at which one do you feel like you fell in love with first, the art of music or the art of journalism?
Art of music, hands down. Like I felt like journalism is just a byproduct of music. Music is journalism on some degree. Like if I've said it before several times, but if you've never been somewhere, you can tell a lot about a place from the music that comes from that place. And even music that I don't particularly like, if I go to that city and listen to it there, I'm like, oh, I get it. I see what's happening now. So like music at its best kind of serves that function. So hands down, like I was writing my first verses when I was 6 years old, following my sister around who was an MC. She's 10 years older than me. You know what I'm saying? In 96, she was 16, going to open mics and all of that. So music is my first love, was and always will be. And then journalism kind of happened like haphazardly, and I learned that you can tell the same stories and still appreciate the art form in a different way. And that's kind of why I end up going in that lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of the art of freestyling, right, what would you say helped you build that skill?
Oh, that muscle, it's not unlike what you're doing right now, the improvisational. You end up making mental connections in your mind, and you just let the connections form themselves, So when you start freestyling, when you first learn how to freestyle, you're really just trying to make words rhyme. You're great, 8, take, crate, you're just doing stuff. Yeah. And now you got to fill in the blank between those words to make sure, pardon me, you got to fill in the blanks between those words to make the thought cohesive and make it make sense. And then you end up seeing that your brain subconsciously links different ideas together. So that's when you find out what your style actually is. That's why most artists today don't even write like they used to back in the day. They feel most free punching in, and freestyling, because your mind, your subconscious mind, is bringing all of the ideas to the forefront. And that's really who your truest self is, when your subconscious mind is doing that. Yeah. And I did have exercises, though, when I was trying to get my vocabulary up. I read a lot, but me and my guy, when I first started rapping, is my brother Uthe. We would write, we'd go to the dictionary, open the dictionary, boom, look at all these different words and be like, all right, you got to use these in a freestyle. We play little games and stuff. Yeah. Or we'll be spitting and then somebody has to throw a word out there and then you connect it. And then we'll add, and this is a good tip for rappers too, like whether you consider yourself a lyrical rapper or not, a lyricist or a songwriter, being able to make these connections does nothing but expand your creativity. If you're a public speaker, I even do classes where I teach people how to give a speech about cards for 5 minutes without stopping, without saying And then you just start to figure out how to build that muscle. Maybe start at 1 minute and then you build it out. And then we'll be like, all right, freestyle about cards and your girlfriend left you. So now you got to put connections in. What are the connections? It wasn't in the cards for us, or I got my cards on the table. What Jay-Z say? Spades faced up. You can believe it for now. Yeah. So like you start to see different ways to make those improvisational connections. And when I got into journalism, that's what ended up helping me on red carpets and whatnot. That same skill.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I also used to react to a lot of Harry Mack videos. So like seeing your freestyle kind of reminded me of how he also was able to take. Like he literally has a series with people throwing words at him, and he has to integrate it into his, in-person live raps. He would do it on Omegle or these different type of applications and stuff like that. But definitely in them videos I saw, you was throwing out them Scrabble long words, rhyming words that is like, damn, like was this a freestyle for real? Like, he was going crazy. So when it comes to as well the process of putting sentences together without the need of these type of like conjunction words. And because I think a lot of people, when you're doing content with them, they may bust those out, right? So, and people are trying to, especially in this day and age, trying to get into becoming front-facing personalities or trying to be talking heads or allow their voice to be heard, right? So, in terms of giving advice like that, what would you?
Don't be afraid of the pause. See it right there? It's effective because when you take the break and you pause as you're speaking, it can help your words land with dramatic effect. So it has a dual purpose. You let the silence breathe, and also studies show people who feel like they have to feel the silence, sometimes that can be misinterpreted as insecurity or something like that. People who tend to be perceived as more confident are usually comfortable with allowing the silence to breathe and allowing for it to be space. Because oftentimes when we hear an awkward silence is usually not as short a time as we think. You can let 2 seconds go by as someone's talking. So when you feel like you want to say, it's okay to collect your thought, pause, and then go through with it. You see the best speakers do it too. Barack Obama does it a lot. Doesn't always do it well. That's why he's like, So he's trying to say the word without saying and so just being measured in that. That's probably like the biggest tip I give. And on the interviewing side too, I learned this when I was doing documentaries. When we did True Life Crime, I remember some great advice a producer gave me. I would do these off-camera interviews with guests, and there would be, let's say somebody's telling you a traumatic story, and we got to get through a certain amount of questions. And I'm getting through the questions, and before they can finish giving me everything they have on that thought, I launched into the next question. They said, nah, let it breathe. Because when you pause, that's usually when you get the more reflective moment. If I ask you, what was the deepest, darkest moment in your life? And you tell me a deep, dark story, and I just sit there. 9 times out of 10, you're going to fill the space with another response, and then you're going to share more. Or if you don't share anything, you might just look down, look away, and that dramatic cutaway is what documentarians love. They might push in and zoom in, see if they can capture the emotion of what was said, all of that type of stuff. So very long-winded answer to your question, silence.
Yeah. And I've actually been studying a Asian practice called Ma, which utilizes that as well in terms of the power of silence and how silence can be able to improve your ability to arrive at peace in relationships or just structure conversations. Wow. And also pinpointing how a lot of public speakers utilize that, where saying certain sentences or asking questions that are maybe rhetorical, but pausing to allow the listener to really intake what's being said. You know what I'm saying? So yes. that is clearly techniques that that other people are using, especially the Asians. Like they be living to like 125.
No, so, they got it. They got
mad stuff figured out. I don't know what it is. At this point, I really just be studying what they be doing. You know what I'm saying? Skin be looking good.
Right.
They be calm and they be bald and they be cross-legged and
mad flexible.
Mad wild flexible.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like my flexibility not up there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I attained the flexibility part, but in terms of peace, tranquility, that's more so what I'm trying to arrive at everyday basis.
How do you spell that, Ma? Or was it
literally Ma?
M-A. M-A. And it's like the leading scholar that we should look at, or just study Japanese Ma?
Japanese Ma. Literally.
Okay.
Like I'm on
look
YouTube.
Into that. That's fire.
Yeah, like there's one specific woman on YouTube that I've been watching recently. I honestly don't remember her name currently, but there's other people that generally teach the practice of mind. So it is a dope technique to ultimately not be at a place where you feel flustered to where like things get so overwhelming. You know, really just taking seconds to breathe, pause, arrive at your thoughts, arrive at what you're trying to say, and ultimately not just say whatever it is that comes to mind off of whatever tension you may be feeling or whatever it is, you know. So that's you know, essentially what you're saying, and there's practices that even dive deeper into that.
That's ill. See, learning something new, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Just put me on game, B.
Hey, I'm here to deliver game and take game as well, because like I said, you made a transition that a lot of artists are not willing to make because of maybe the type of artists that they've seen in their past,
right,
or their path, have such a headstrong mentality on, I'm gonna make this work as long as possible, which I definitely relate to in a certain way. But you made the decision that at some point I need to relinquish the music side of things and focus on journalism, even though you are good at music, right? But you saw that there was a path that you needed to dive into that made you more money than maybe the artist side of things made you at the time. So you know, what gave you that courage to say like, yo, even though I really am good at music and I like doing music, there's a path for me here that, you know, is going to be more lucrative.
I like how you frame that, because in some ways I think the decision was kind of made for me, right? Like with music, I don't know if I ever really gave it a full fair shot, because I was simultaneously, like, I went to college, I majored in economics, and I used to host open mics across the city of Chicago, and outside my school was near St. Louis, so I used to do stuff in St. Louis, you know, around that time. And then I worked in corporate America, and I was in the Twin Cities, which is not like it has a bussin' music scene, but they have so many talented people in that area. In Minneapolis, and so many talented, like, I mean, Prince was from Minnesota, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got like all of these ill music spaces, so I would moonlight and host at different spots. And I remember when I quit my job in corporate America, I was like, all right, what am I gonna do now? Because I'm something about me, I don't have a problem with quitting and starting over. Like, whatever God want me to do, if my heart says do it, that's what I do. I kind of like free spirit in that way. And so I prayed, and I was like, you know, I really asked God, what is the life that I want to live? And I said, if I was an artist who would only live by tour money, right? Let's say you tour around a year, 50 weeks a year, and live on a tour bus. And I don't want to denigrate any artists, but I'm thinking of independent artists that we know that have wildly successful careers, but they never had really mainstream success. And they making mad money, they doing art, they do what they love to do. Would I enjoy that lifestyle? And I'm like, I don't think I want that lifestyle. I want more stability. And I said, God, if this is what you want me to do, how do you want me to maneuver? And there's a really long story attached to it, which we'll get into later if you want to. But eventually the creator kind of showed me like, nah, here's a path for you. And it was a grieving process too, because I felt like I never really put my full foot forward, and I had wrapped up so much of my identity in, you know, my writing ability. So to switch gears was like, you know, I don't like the idea of feeling like I gave up or something like that. But things clicked for me in the journalism space like that. I interned at a radio station the day I started. The previous guy working there had put in his 2-week notice. I had the job 2 weeks later. From there, I ended up programming a music radio station called WindyCityUnderground.com. Even some of the freestyles that were filmed, a lot of it wasn't that polished because I stopped writing. So I would mix writtens with a little bit of freestyle, but I was doing music as a hobby by that point, more so than like a pure passion, you know. But eventually it came to be that, sometimes God gives you gifts to serve your other gifts. Vic Mensa actually put this together well. He was like, God didn't put me on this planet to write 16s. He was like, God put me to be I forget how he worded, I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of, God put me on this planet to give truths. And however I give those truths, whatever the medium is, it is what it is. Like, I heard another philosopher was talking about, a modern day philosopher was talking about Michael Jordan. It was like, Michael Jordan's gift isn't basketball necessarily. If he was born in a different time period, he might have been a gladiator or an Olympian doing something else. His gift is, he's fiercely competitive, and he's able to turn on his anger and channel it in a particular direction. So that gift and skill can manifest itself in multiple ways. And I think that when we get to the core of what our gifts really are, you'll find that it can be applicable to so many different disciplines. And so that's kind of how I ended up in journalism.
Yeah. Because ultimately there's an artist right now that, especially in this music economy, that is not getting the results that they want to get and maybe putting in what they think is their full effort. Maybe at the time you thought you were putting in X amount of effort, but then looking back on it, you can now say you didn't put your full foot in it. But there's an artist right now that's putting in X amount of effort, feels like they're not getting the returns, and they need to figure out, is there another medium that's calling me, or should I keep going down this route? You know, you was in a position to be able to make that switch in terms of an artist that may not have that door.
Yeah.
What do you feel that advice would be? You feel like you had a calling? What would their calling be, or how should they adjust to that situation?
I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but it's a hot take to me because I'm an optimist. Like, I'm a glass half full. I'm an alchemy thinking, if you conceive it, it can happen type of person. That being said, the truth is you can be amazing at something. You could put 1,000,000 hours into it and it could still not work out the way you intended for it to work out. It's just the truth. How many like hoopers do you know from your block that could have gone to the league? Like, he deserved to go to the league. He was that good. And an injury or a life circumstance or mental health, or, you know, there's a famous person in Chicago went to Simeon who got killed, and he was like the top player. That's why Chicago loves D Rose so much. He also went to Simeon and actually achieved the dreams. But even D Rose, the injuries, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, all that to say, you can put in 1,000,000 hours, you can do everything right, and it could still not work out the way you wanted to. So what then? Well, I say move with intention with no expectations. Disappointment tends to come from expectation. If you sit here and say, I only love this thing so far as it could buy me a mansion, then do you really love that thing? You're really doing it as a means to an end. And that's what I had to look at myself with a lot of things I was interested in. I'm like, did I really put my full, before I put my full, you know, best foot forward, do I really, if I made no money, would I be cool with doing this shit? No. I wasn't, the truth was, I thought I loved rap. I thought I loved music to that level. But if I was going to be like broke and doing it, no. Lord, I'm good.
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, but I love music. Lead me toward my path. And then the path that God might have for you might look different than you envisioned it to. I ended up doing hard news before I got to entertainment journalism. Not that entertainment journalism was even the goal, but I didn't go from like, you know, I'm gonna start covering rappers. Nah, it was kind of like a lag period. So for somebody out there who is doing everything right, I would say go back into that silence, that meditative space, and talk to the creator and really find out what the true gift is, where God wants you to be, and why he gave you the gift that he gave you. Is it to get to a certain place? Maybe he taught you how to hoop at that particular level because your gift may be to start a program where you're teaching inner city kids life lessons through basketball. And the only reason they're going to respect you is because of how dope you was on the court. That might be your mission. It might not be to be LeBron, you know what I'm saying? It might be to be a hood hero, and you might touch and impact more lives on a personal one-to-one level than some of the biggest names in culture ever could, you know, just through popularity. So all of that. So I'll say be calm and be still within self and talk to God and figure out, you know, not to make this a whole like spiritual convo, but that's the only thing I know though.
I think a lot of people should arrive at that within themselves. To me, Kendrick has a song. I forgot which song particularly, but it has a line in the song where he says, I'd rather not live like there isn't a God than die and find out there really is.
It's a bar.
It really was. I was like, damn. You know, so it's better to believe in something than nothing. Because say you die, and then there was something. And now you tight.
Yeah.
Now you burning.
Yeah, and you know, I was talking to somebody about this too, and they talk about like, you know, delusions of grandeur when people think that God is talking to them or whatever, right? Well, if your inner self told you to do something and it came out successful, either way, I arrived at my end point. So whether it was the creator or my own delusions, I'm here. So
some type of source brought me to the result.
Exactly. And that's why I say creator too, because, you know, even though I believe in Jesus Christ and Yeshua, everybody has different mediums, and who am I to tell somebody what their medium is? I read autobiography of Malcolm X, and talks about having visions of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad visiting him, etc. And it allowed him to become the man he was, to impact the world. So if his medium brought him to that end, which impacted my life, that is what he was supposed to do. Same with Buddhists or whatever it is, or other spiritualists. So tap into the creator first, tap into self as well, into silence, into whatever that looks like for you. And little by little, the answers of what we're supposed to be doing, how we're supposed to be maneuvering, come clear. And it's not like it'll be like, Taylor, I christen you to do this. But it might mean, yo, I want you to be a better listener. And then you become a host, and you become an immaculate listener. And that ends up opening the door to this platform of podcast that you've built. And it's like, oh, this is a manifestation of my self-improvement, in real time. So that's kind of what I would probably tell people to tap into.
And even speaking about the word creator, I think you ended up picking the right path that allowed you to etch into a path of your life to where you're now a creator as opposed to a rapper, which I think is even the answer to where a lot of artists should arrive at, especially in this day and age. You need to be a creator and not just a rapper or a person that puts pen to paper or a person that can punch in and out in the studio, because that's what we as the consumers are more interested in now. People who can create and can provide value, whether it's through entertainment or through information or through the preaching of phrases. Like what makes me attached to you as an entity and a brand and a personality outside of the fact that you produce music. Like people that are creators that are able to garner mass followings and audience and viewership. We're more interested in their music than as opposed to the person that just says, yo, I'm gonna get in the booth and rap. I think right now I personally don't go to look up new music. Music comes to me organically, whether I hear it through a car or somebody's playing it on their phone, or I'm scrolling and somebody might use a sound, or so as personally how music comes to me now because of just the influx of music, and it can get overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not good at it. Everybody sees that they see that there's money to be made in it, but there's so many streams of income and revenue streams that can be achieved and grabbed in this industry, but there's not a lot of people that are disseminating that information on the various streams, and people just see like, oh yeah, the rapping part, the making the songs part, but that's probably the least lucrative side of it all.
It ends up being like the calling card that directs people to the merch and the touring and all of the other things. But it kind of makes me sad too, though. Like, I know so many artists who would rather lock themselves in the studio, create the art, and just be, because they might even in themselves actually be introverted people, or not be excited about the editing process. Like, creating content can be, arduous. It can be annoying. It could be a lot to it. So I don't know. That's exactly what a game is now. And I think also that's why God blessed me to not be in that space, because I would have hated to find my way here by necessity and not by choice. To find myself, like, I saw, it was a viral video I saw. Ironically, I went to the artist page. They didn't have that many followers, and they didn't have any other videos for real on that page except for this one video. And it was like a meme, and she was like, I just want to create art, bro. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be on TikTok. And that was the most viral clip, was her saying that she don't want to be viral. And then that made me actually sent me down the rabbit hole. I went to her bio. I went down the, and I wish I could remember her name and shout her out. If I find it after this, I'll send it to you. But I'm like, yo, I feel you, because even as a journalist, like, it was dope being at platforms like MTV and VH1 and hosting different podcasts for different spaces like CBS and whatnot, because you get to come to the studio, do your piece of content, the thing that you're paid for, and then develop pieces of content to support it and promote it around that. But when you are doing, just what you do, when you're just doing this, you creating out of thin air. So there's a lot more power and a lot of autonomy in it, but it's a lot more work. And if I could just show up to a set, throw a teleprompter on, and be myself for an hour, man, that would be the perfect thing. But we're in a different economy where people don't buy into brands, man. They buy into people. They buy into human beings, like you said. It's not just about the music anymore. It's not just about the journalism anymore and the quality of the interviews anymore. is what's your journey? What's your story? Who are you? Why should I follow you when there are a million other people on this internet doing the same thing you do?
And we're gonna go a couple different ways what you just said, but to tap on the whole artist part of it and why I think artists should kind of get out of that mindset of like, I don't want to create content, but the word that we've now given essentially musicians and rappers is artists. So if you're gonna be an artist, art is art. Yeah. Artist has art in it. So you're not just creating music, you're creating art. And content, I view as art. I view what we're doing right now as art. Yeah. I view that as art. I view anything with a camera as art. I view painting as art. I view being able to be a voice actor or come up with things off the top of your head as all of this is art. So you have to expand how you look at art. Art, being an artist, if you really, because I grew up utilizing mediums of oil pastels and charcoal and crayons and colored pencils to create art, right? So like that to me is originally, as I grew up, what I attributed artist to mean. And then when you grow up even more, you come to find out that people use that to mean I make music, right? Yes. I think now we're circling back to the concept of an artist needs to create art, and there's various ways to create art, right? Like even if you're the one creating a dance challenge, dance is art, right? So it's like you have to expand what the thought process of art is, right?
That's so real.
And I just think that that's where we're currently at. Like being able to even entertain an audience for several hours on a stream, that's art. All this is art form. All this is art, and whether it's work or not. Wherein I remember you said to somebody in an interview where you were saying, because she said like, oh, do you have downtime, or like how do you chill or relax, and when you have so much things to do in your day, and you're like, oh well, when you're enjoying what you do doesn't feel like work, right? So when you're doing all these things, it won't feel like work. It'll feel like art, and you're living in the art. That's right. So that's really how I try to exist in my world, because I could be doing way more mundane crap, right? And
are you still a visual artist as well?
I am. So I do still draw. I drew the original logo, and then I had my graphic designer kind of update it a little bit. But I created this logo on the card game. Third Day Energy. We're gonna get into that a little bit later, but I do love drawing. I do love art. I wanted to originally be an architect until I realized I don't like traditional math. I like money math. You know what I'm saying? But drawing and all that stuff is cool, and I eventually do want to get into creating paintings and selling them and stuff like that. But that's as the brand keeps getting bigger. 'Cause I want to be able to like off rip sell those for like hundreds of $1,000s. You know what I'm saying? Right. You go to art shows, there's people literally taking a paintbrush and just sprinkling it on the canvas, and they selling it for $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Right. I need to be doing that at high levels.
That's a perfect example too, because a lot of it is with artists too. With artists like visual artists, painters, sometimes the person themselves becomes so interesting that you just want a piece of something that they created. You know what I mean? Or the rationale behind what these different things mean. If you buy into that, then you buy into the greatness of that random paint splotching or whatever, or the concept of it, or what its commentary is. Yeah. So that's very true. It's not unlike what you said about musicians. Like, if I fuck with your art on it, can I cuss on this? I've been cussing already.
Do you think?
I bet. It's like if I could, it's like if I rock with your perspective and what you created content-wise, like Tierra Whack, one of the illest MCs ever, is a very engaging streamer. And it just made me like her music more, because I'm like, oh, your mind, this is just your mind. You're crazy a little bit, like in a good way. Like you might kind of crazy, and it makes me understand the music even more. So,
100%.
Yeah, I think same with painters and artists. Yeah,
that's what we need more. Yeah. Like what made this music feel so real, or else it wasn't real. Thanks. And I want to know what. Because we're in or at least maybe getting out of an era where they try to make me feel like, at least being that, I'm from New York, a lot of, at least the last 5 years was about kind of more violent music. I think we're in like a, transition part, but they try to make you feel like, or even like certain parts of Chicago, they try to make you feel like, hey, we're making this music and it's not real. It's not based on real things. And that's just not true. You know what I'm saying? It's just not true. Why are we playing dumb? Yeah. You guys are really doing menacing activities and going to the studio and rapping about it. But you know what? Hey, if that's what it is, what it is. I still that's why we love King Von, because he was really a menace. But then when you have people out here rapping about things that they're not really doing, it makes you look at it like, where's the credibility, right? So I think that's more so where we're at in a general sense. Like, we want to feel the credibility in your music. You don't have to be violent, but be credible in the type of person that you actually are.
Damn, and then now, the danger in the music is now, because I want to be this kind of musician, I'm going to create the violence so I can rap about it. And then that's what happens when it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And Chicago infected New York with the drill bug. And, it's like, I love the authenticity of it. But, and the credibility that comes with it, and artists living their truth. But I hate what it's done to our communities, to our culture, and all that stuff, you know. But yeah, I feel you. But I think there does need to be a shift in the music that's coming out. Do you feel like right now in New York is the music scene coming out of the drill era or redefining it? Because I've been hearing like, you know, I've been hearing sexy drill. I've been hearing like the wavy, the Cash Cobain type vibes, like where people are being less. And I'm for context, I'm from Chicago, obviously, but like where people are being less. They love the sound of it, and they're finding other authentic ways of expressing themselves within the sound of the genre with the same energy, but like minus the murder. You know, so I'm wondering like, what is New York's next wave of music? You feel like gonna be?
I think it's expression and character based, in my opinion. Expression being like there's this one guy, I honestly don't even know his name, but he went viral on the radar for like, I can't even say anything of which the words were, but it was just a lot of sounds and movements. And I think people are enjoying the entertainment of it all rather than even like the impact of the content of the words that he's saying. And I don't want to take away from him because once again, I don't even remember his name like that. And I'm ultimately even going to say that I may not even be the best person to answer that question because I'm not as engaged in the music scene as I once was in terms of like, because to even answer that, to me, I think the sexy drill wave, people are over that as well. I think people are kind of like numb to that because Cash Cobain created a genre of music that a lot of people feel like they can copy and replicate. So now everybody wants to copy and replicate that the same way that they're like. I was talking to Shy, who is Method Man's daughter, and she told me that drill music, or at least how she feels, is now a genre of music as opposed to a type of specific song and rapping about certain experiences. Now it's like a genre of music. Like I can make a drill song because it's at a drill beat, right? So hey, maybe I'm just not the person to ask currently because I'm not as engaged in the music scene. I think I'm more so in the space of where I actually do want to encourage artists to become creators or artists to become artists, as opposed to just replicating what they're hearing and seeing, which I think is been the music industry this whole time. Whereas like whatever's popular, let's just replicate and do that because it's what's making money. But everything starts with a creator, right? Just to even go back to the whole God and source thing, right? Everything's gonna start back with a creator. So I more so like to bring it back to that point. Create. Be the original creator that someone's gonna copy something from, right? So I think even in the music in general, we're arriving at a space, or we need to arrive at a space of like, just give me the 50 Cent Kanye West back in what that was like 2007 or something like that, in that range, where I feel like there was a switch, whether 50 Cent believes that Jay-Z has something to do with that or not, but there was a switch in gangster rap to backpack rap. Right. So I think there kind of needs to be, it doesn't have to necessarily be the way that Kanye went about backpack rap, but I think if you're trying to do gangster rap, we know you're going to go to jail or die. And who wants to, become so attached to an artist that's going to go to jail or die? Like that can really be daunting on you. You know what I'm saying? Like it can really make, at some point you actually become become numb, or you become attached to the artists themselves that it can really affect you as if you know them. And who wants to go through all them levels of grief for people that you don't actually even know sometimes, right? Right. But just kind of even circle back to the whole journalistic aspect, where you even as a journalist feel like you can't just be a journalist, you have to be a creator. Like, why do we care about you as a journalist? I also went to journalism school in high school and college as well. I first went to be a sports journalist, and around that time I saw the transition of people not taking journalism as seriously, and they more so were engaged in the entertainment aspect of it all, right? Like Stephen A. and Skip Bayless, they were also popular at that time, and there was other people bubbling up, but that was also the beginning portion of when athletes were being taken more seriously and their opinions were being taken more seriously, as opposed to a journalist who it's like, oh, you didn't go to the NBA, why do we care about your opinion? And like the entertainment aspect of it all, I saw was just appreciated way more. Like there's Famous Los, that was in his beginnings. The Kid Gowie, that was also his beginnings, and I really cared more about the journalistic aspect of it. Like I'm really on Basketball Reference, I know these people's stats, I know their histories, I know where they went to school, I know what he averaged when he was 16, I know where he went to, and I'm doing all this, and then people don't really care. They just want to talk about the crap that they want to talk about and the popular figures in the space. And so it made me say, you know what, like I'm just gonna dive deeper into the entertainment and engagement aspect of it, because people, like you said, kind of barely care about the journalism aspect, And that's
watch It Is What It Is my favorite sports show, and I'm not really a sports guy. Like, I'm a casual fan of of all sports, but I watch It Is What It Is to watch Cam and Mace tweak out, and every now and then they dive into sports topics and really have good takes or whatever, and but that's not really what I'm watching the show for. So to your point, it's true. Same with Stephen A. Like when I'm tapped into Stephen A. is when he's getting into, and he knows his stuff. But yeah, I think I'm more entertained by him than I am engaged in the conversation around the sports itself. And so it's probably too many casual sports fans out here effing up the game for the real sports broadcast.
And especially because there's a switch in at least NBA specifically. There's now a switch in old heads versus the new cats, which it was very much seen in the way that they formatted this All-Star game. So there's going to be more casual fans until the newer guys are on a larger pedestal. That like they're more so the faces, right? So, but to even kind of piggyback off that as well, right? So in terms of where I think content and art in general has been then and where it's continuing to go is in who's gonna maintain my engagement and who's just the better performer overall, right? Yeah. So even to go back to where you mentioned CBS, I did watch your piece on CBS, and you had spoke on various performers that was going to be performing that night. I believe there was an award show coming up, and you mentioned you really enjoyed Sabrina Carpenter's performances. So who would you say is the top 5 best performers that you've seen in person?
Woo! Top 5. Kanye West was amazing. I saw the Glow in the Dark tour in person. Yeah, it was amazing. Doechii. Doechii's an amazing performer, and I'm not even talking about Doechii now with like the hip hop school and all that. All of that is phenomenal. And shout out to DJ Miss Milan. Her DJ is amazing as well. But I saw her at a music festival. I can't remember which one. Maybe Governor's Ball a couple of years ago, or maybe Lollapalooza. But I wasn't really familiar with her music. I knew of the song, How Does It Feel to Be You? How does it feel to be? But I never knew who sung it at the time. So she did a whole set and ended with that song. But the way she engaged the crowd, you could tell super fans were up front. And then there were a couple of us in the back that kind of just walking past and, whatever. And I was kind of doing research. I like to see, who the new artists are, and I might interview her at some point. Maybe I try to catch her at the festival. She was phenomenal, bro. And anytime you go to a festival and you see somebody dominate a crowd where 80% of the crowd don't know who they are, and they still body that, because especially festivals, because usually at festivals it's like a whole bunch of kids there for only 5 people maybe, and everybody else is a plus, like they're there for the headliners, and then you got a couple super SoundClick fan kids or whatever, like back in that era that were like, but Doechii was amazing. So I would say Ye, Doechii. Who else have I seen live? Kendrick, I saw live. He was dope. See, saying who I've seen live kind of limits it a little bit, though, because I surprisingly haven't seen that many live performers that really, like, got me going. Oh, Busta Rhymes. I'm bugging. Yeah. Busta's...
You did mention Busta Rhymes on that exact piece as well.
I did? Okay,
yeah.
I'm consistent.
He's the number 1 performer in hip-hop.
Yeah, Busta, easily. And I haven't even seen Meth and Red live for like a full set. I think I saw them at Rock the Bells before, or like on a festival stage, which isn't the exact same. But I'm going to go Meth, Red, Ye, Doechii, Busta. And let's do Kendrick for the stage design. And Beyonce, of course. I saw Beyonce. And I saw J-Lot. Jay. It's too many to name, B. It's a lot. And then I'm going to give you one more. Then there are a lot of boom bap artists don't get credit for like their live performances because it's just stage and spitting. But I saw Rock Marcy at a smaller New York venue. I can't remember what it was. But this dude's energy was electric on stage in a way that I didn't really anticipate. He didn't have a whole lot going on, but his presence, his aura was on 1,000. So Rock Marciano, he was a good live performer. I don't know if I put him in the pantheon of the best, but I was surprised at how much presence he had on stage. I shouldn't have been because he's a veteran, but I was surprised how much presence he has on stage, given that his music is so kind of calm and, on the downbeat. I was like, oh, okay, he got it. Certain people just have an it factor. So he had it.
Yeah, that Rick Ross aura.
That Rick Ross aura. You did your oh man, he did his research for sure. That's a deep cut. That's an interview deep cut. Rick Ross had aura as well. Yeah. I talked about when I first met Rick Ross on the VMA's red carpet, and I was kind of surprised by how you know, how big he felt. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Like, hey, yo.
I think he probably looked. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but you know, he was like how his energy was. You know what I'm saying? And some people you see them and you meet them on carpets, and you get to see like, oh, if not for Fat Joe's one of the people too. It was like outside of music, you were just gonna be an interesting person. Like you probably always been funny, or you probably always had an aura around you. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. And so yeah, I think there's a couple artists like that.
So can you give me a top 5 aura moments with individuals that you met?
Oh, now aura is rare. I don't know if I even got 5. I'm gonna go Doechii, because then I ended up meeting her on the red carpet and interviewing her real quick, and she was just. We was kikiing like we known each other already. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even attribute that to me being able to get. I do think I have a gift to opening people up. Some people could talk to a brick wall and it's just gonna be interesting. Yeah. So I feel like I'm gonna get Doechii that crown. So I think Doechii was ill. Who else had aura? Glow got aura, man. Glow got aura. Okay. She cool as hell. Who else? Jog my memory. Tell you anybody you seen that got aura? Like I'm trying to think about it. Who got me?
I'm not gonna lie. Like to give my own small anecdote as to why aura doesn't necessarily affect me as much as it used to is because I had a moment where I was younger, earlier in the game. Me and my friends were taking pictures in Soho in front of Stadium Goods. And literally, Joey Badass comes out of his car with his security guard directly behind us. Comes out. This is, I'm from Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn. Went to the same high school. I used to listen to Joey Badass heavy at that time. Yeah, he had a song called Brooklyn Zone that was very popular at the time as well. So he gets out the car. We're like, oh, yo, Joey, well, can we get a picture? And then so, we're taking pictures. And I'm like, yo, can I take a video? He was like, video? And like, my soul just left my body. Like I think 6ix9ine was also doing his trolling stuff at the time. So I don't know if he thought I was trying to like troll him or whatever, but like my soul left my body that day. Damn. And that's when I was like, wow, like, yeah, y'all are all regular. And it's okay, it's okay to be regular, but it actually allowed me to even be able to do what I'm doing right now and not really be fazed by much, because he thought I was about to do some nonsense, and I really was just a fan. And I don't even call myself a fan of people like that. I was just a fan at the time, really. But I'm
sorry to hear that too, because I love Joey, man. He's a good acquaintance of mine. He's a good guy. But but I remember that time with 6ix9ine, you just didn't know what energy people were coming with.
I can understand.
Yeah,
I can understand.
Yeah, but you know who? I'll go the other way. Someone whose aura doesn't give the demeanor of wanting that aspect of celebrity, and I think everybody knows this. Summer Walker. I met her recently at the Grammys, and I had met her before in like a more casual setting. I never meet her in settings where it feels appropriate for me to ask for a picture or even an interview, because I know she kind of don't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Clearly. She did a VIP thing. She was there.
Yeah, exactly. And she didn't even notice. She actually used one of my MTV news stories. We did a story on Summer Walker, and we were just kind of talking about how in the internet era, a lot of artists have become creators online, built their platform and all of that, but they didn't have to do what artists back in the day did, would go on the road and kind of build that extroverted aspect of themselves and kind of learn how to engage with people. Yeah. Now this is a good era for people who don't really want to talk to people like that to be famous, because you can do the music in your room, you could build 1 million followers online and just do shows, perform, and then disappear if you want to. So I was kind of being empathetic to her antisocialness, and they ended up using like a clip. It wasn't even the nicest clip. But they used a clip of it to announce like her comeback or something a while back. So I met her again at the Grammys, and I just said what's up. We was like near an escalator or something. Like it wasn't even that. And I saw Amber Grimes, who works with her team at LVRN. I was just like, yo, what up, y'all? I shook her hand and said what's up. Yeah. But she had such a, and I mean this in an endearing way, such a regular aura. Like going back to your point, just a regular person. Yeah. And I didn't want to take her out of that element and be like, let's grab a picture, because what I need a picture for. I'd rather an interview.
No, literally. That's also why I stopped asking people pictures, really. Like, I'd rather sit down and talk to you.
Now that we do this, it's like I would rather really just chop it up. Now, and I did take pictures with certain people if I felt like we kind of hit it off.
It was real genuine. Cool. Like, I met Sheamus, the wrestler, and we had like such a real, genuine conversation that I was like, yo, I got to get a picture with you. It was that type of vibe.
It just worked out that way.
It just worked out, but like, more times than not, I'm not really on that.
That's a fact.
As we have got to know you,
sir.
We'll get to know you a little bit more through this card game that
let's get it.
We produce called Third Day Energy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have you pick out a card, Answer that, John.
I'm gonna go right here. All right, Bing. Describe your perfect first date. I feel like I need to talk to Stella. There's a lady in the room. I think I need to direct this. Perfect first date. I love those first dates that don't end. Like if we start with lunch or something like that at 12 noon or whatever, then we end up at an art gallery or something. Then we end up driving down Lakeshore Drive, aimlessly talking or whatever. Then we end up at a club. Then we end up at an after hour spot. Now I love a date that feel like 3 dates in one. So like the perfect first date is that. And then throw in as a bonus if I'm super plugged in or, have a space where everybody know your name. You walk in and you got your date with you, and they drink soda. Oh, Dometi, hey, like yeah. I love that. I love when I feel invited to a space.
Yeah.
So if I'm bringing my woman there, and then we there, and she's just feels welcomed, and it's like, yo, who is this guy? And it's like, and not off cloud either. I'm talking about like off relationships. Like this is like, I've been with my lady now for several years, but like, even before back in Chicago, you do favors for people, or you end up knowing people, or people come up to you and they just rock with your energy, and you end up getting favors. And so whenever that comes to a head on a first date, and then your mans pull up and hit you with the wingman, oh, this guy, good guy, right?
Good guy, right?
Oh yeah, that's the perfect first date. I'm getting it in that night.
Yeah, that's it. Having a good time.
That
might turn to date 1 plus date 2. In the next day.
You feel me? You feel me, Stella? You know what I'm saying? Like that's it right there.
I think that one.
All right, bet. And so you invented this game?
Yeah, we have some group thought in there.
How does someone make it to the third date with you? By not fucking on the first 2. I'm just playing.
Yeah, really, or for the camera.
I'm halfway joking. I'm halfway joking. No, because unfortunately, like if you let somebody crack on the first date, that doesn't say anything negative about you to me. It's like that Andre 3000 skit on Love Below when he was like, that just means she knows what she want out of life. You know what I'm saying? If we kicking it and we know this is where this is going, and you deny me for any other reason than like, I don't want him to think something about me. If you deny because you're still getting to know me, or you're not turned on, or you're just not in that space right now, you're not ready to do that. That's authentic. But if everything is leading that direction and you're stopping for some arbitrary reason, it feels kind of like childish.
Sometimes they also be stopping because their own personal experiences, that what they've been through, they got hit and quit, and now they're not trying to project it on you and all that.
Exactly. Like all of those reasons are valid to me. But sometimes I feel like, there's a game that's played, so you can't just like hold out because you think because somebody, if he didn't like you on day 1, he's not gonna like you because you withheld sex. He's just gonna
try to get the sex.
He's gonna try to get the sex. He's gonna hit it and quit by day 10 if that's the type of person that he tends to be.
Honestly, that's a scary type of guy too. You know what I'm saying? One that'll drag it on until like date 15, and then because when he get it, now he's gonna leave.
Oh, he's a serial killer. But how does someone make it to the third date? So by that I mean the true part of the joke is just by withholding things that make me more interested, not sex necessarily, but like conversation that makes me want to find out more and more and more about you. Like, so I'm like, yo, I had so much fun on that first date. We did damn near everything. And she mentioned that she wants to go axe throwing or something like that. I got to take axe throwing. So now we date 2. And then date 2, she hinted at something that she does, a hidden talent, a gift or something. I got to find out about that. So so just leaving things that make you want to find out more and more and more about the person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's get one more in there.
Yeah. I was just trying to go, I was trying to give you a clip on the first one. Who's your favorite family member? Oh, we can't do that. Favorite family member? Do I have one? I can't even answer this. My 2 sisters, man. Like, I got 2 big sisters. Those are my best friends, Nunya and Afinia. Shout out to Nunu and Fifi. Those are my big homies, my mentors. Taught me how to do a lot of things, how to spit, they believed it. Sometimes people want their family members to believe in a dream. One of the greatest gifts that they have given me sometimes is not being sure of what I was doing. Like when I quit my job out of nowhere, not being sure of what I was doing made me double down on it. Because when they were on the phone like, yo, you might want to do this. You might want to go back to school. The passion with which I responded, no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. I'm not on that. I know what I'm on. And it's going to work. The friction reminded me how much I believed in myself. Yeah. And sometimes when everybody say, you could do it, and they coddle you, they placate you. Yeah.
You might get complacent.
You might get complacent. And so or if somebody can convince you out of your dream, then did you have a dream to begin with?
You didn't want to do it.
You didn't want to do it. So when they got down on me, I was like, maybe I really do believe in this more than I thought I did. And so for those reasons and many more, my two big sisters.
Got you. As we come to the end of this Elajas and Friends episode, I want to give you some rapid questions that you can kind of give me more tighter answers to that I still wanted to make sure that we get out there, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
You said that try to make sure you have a person in the room to vouch for you.
Yes.
How does one go about doing that?
First of all, y'all don't even realize this. Taylor's an excellent researcher. I don't even remember where I said that before, but that's dope that you did that. All right, quick answers. How to get somebody in, how to create a space where you got somebody in the room to vouch for you. Be nice to everyone. Be kind to everyone. Being kind don't mean be a pushover. But when you have positive experiences with people, they remember that. And like you said, you first saw me once, saw each other the second time. I didn't particularly remember, but clearly I was pleasant enough for you to invite me to the show, which I greatly appreciate. And so just being kind to people means that even if you don't necessarily like make a connection with them, when you're not around, it's enough for them to say, oh yeah, dude is all right. You know what I'm saying? So be kind to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's simple. Yeah.
So speaking of the times that we had previously met, the first time was when you were hosting an MTV event that Lola Brooke and a few others performed at, right? And then second time was at a Women in Rap MTV taping, right? And then third time was at a Hugh Capital event for black entrepreneurs and whatnot. So speaking on the MTV side, if somebody's looking to get into essentially mainstream media, right? How would you say you took your path from being an artist to journalist, radio host to find yourself at MTV, and the advice somebody could take from that they can apply to their own lives, even if they don't have the same path?
Great question. I'll try to get it as concise as possible. It relates to the first answer, making sure that you have planted enough seeds, positive seeds with people, so you have people in the room. How I ended up at MTV was scouting for somebody to host a new spinoff show called True Life Crime, and my name came up in that room. The person who was in that room didn't think of me initially. Somebody else was like, y'all should holler at Dometi. They talked to the director of the show, and the director went back to my friend who was in that room and said, yo, you heard this guy Dometi? Oh, that's my news anchor. I did news for this brother for like 2-3 years. And
not that guy.
Yeah. He didn't think of me. It was like out of sight, out of mind. And I don't take offense to that. Sometimes it's just proximity means that, we close. I might take you for granted a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But when somebody else comes in and is like, yo, who should host this thing? And I'm naming, oh, this person, all big platforms. And they're like, yeah, but somebody just told me about Taylor. And I'm like, oh, yeah, him. That's what happened. So if somebody's asking how to get in those spaces, it might mean doing coffee with folks. It might mean doing lunch. It might mean, going to the physical spaces in real life that they are at. That might look like CultureCon for you if you just started your career. It might look like a Hugh Capital event, whatever it is. And don't be afraid to go and speak with those people, because you never know when you'll see them later in life and they'll remember that interaction, and that could be a life-changing thing for you. So yeah, put yourself in the space, be kind to everybody, and don't be afraid to buy somebody coffee, pick their brain, to jump on Zoom, ask them questions, and follow up. If you follow up and say, hey, here's what I'm doing in my life right now. I'm doing this, this, and this. Hey, I'm doing this, this, and this. Sometimes those people never respond until they have something for you. I've seen people get mad at me because I haven't responded. Sometimes I'm slow to respond. Sometimes I might be on the side. I might send something to my assistant and say, yo, if we ever need a videographer, this person hit me up, put them on the list. And I might forget to actually tell them I did that. So just put yourself out there, continually do it, and continually be great in your own domain. Run your social media account, all of that stuff, to the point where when I go back in my email account and I'll be like, oh, snap, that dude who became this, I've been in tune with him. Now those same people who might not have been thirsty to get down with you will be chasing you down. That's happened to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we're gonna dive into 3 quick C's, right?
I'm very bad at short answers, so feel free to cut me off. This is supposed to be a speed round. I'm giving long answers, B.
They still need this knowledge, though. You know what I'm saying? They still need this knowledge. So
no doubt.
To get into these quick three C's, right? So you clearly are a pretty calculated and confident individual. So what would you say that chess had on your brain, mind, and how you've been able to maneuver in life?
Chess has taught me like how you start determines how you'll finish. I know that sounds real like basic, but I used to be really impatient when I played chess. And I was just trying to get to the end game because that's when it's juicy. All the pieces are off the board and I'm gonna try to checkmate. But I started to find that how do I end up in these positions at the end of the game where this person has a pawn that's about to become a queen and I lost all my pawns, or I love to checkmate with a rook and with 2 rooks and a bishop if I can. I gave those up earlier because I was playing too fast. So chess has taught me how to use patience to set the proper foundation, because the end game that you want to come about, it's all started by how you open up. It's all about the opening. The opening, and then your tactical moves in the middle game lead you to your end game. So in my career, it has allowed me lately, nobody really, I feel like few people don't really know how they made it. But we're gifted at, hindsight is 2020, so you can go back and reverse engineer and say, oh, this is what I did that worked. And so as I go back and reverse engineer, I can make it sound like I consciously went from rap to hard news, and hard news led me to entertainment journalism, and then I'll do all of it. It didn't kind of happen that way, but if I reverse engineer it, I laid the foundation by making so many friends and relationships and honing my skill set within these different disciplines, so that when I ended up in a space that required me to pull from all these experiences, it worked out. And that's what chess taught me to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, hey, we were at the opening,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're at the closing.
Hey.
This Elajas and Friends episode. Go ahead and let them know where they can find you at.
Hey, you can find me at Dometi, DOMETI_. My show, Chess Not Checkers. Social media is the CNC Podcast. I'm on YouTube. Find me on YouTube, same name, Dometi TV. Everything is DOMETI. And I'm just trying to, been an established journalist for a long time, and I'm trying to contribute what I can to the creator economy in the most authentic way possible. So if that appeals to you, come tap in with your boy.
Fire.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the post notification bells, and every time we drop a new damn video. Okay, make sure you follow ELAJAS and Friends on Instagram. Make sure you check out the full episodes on YouTube. Make sure you also follow Taylor, ELAJAS, on all socials, because we're getting down and dirty. Exponentially.
Can I have that?
Yes, this is all yours.
May I take this?
This is all yours.
With me?
Indeed.
Wait, wrong camera. Yes, sir. Thank you, man.